And we didn't say who's doing the intro. Hey, everybody.
No.
My name is Eric Buhrendorf, CEO of EVERNET Consulting. With my partner in crime here, Brian Williams of Northshire Consulting. You're watching Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. We're a YouTube channel, podcast, so you could search us there. And we do a weekly show recording on Tuesday where Brian and I pretend to talk about things we know about in finance and technology and basically anything we want. How's it going, Bri?
Doing all right. We're everywhere. We're everywhere you want to see us, and even if you don't want to see us, we're everywhere.
That's right. I didn't mention we do have a Facebook page where we're curating a community, and we're soon to launch a website and supporting networks and resources. Right?
Yeah. And this is episode 19, so we're I think we made a little bit of a technology leap around episode 10. So now maybe we'll do another one around 20 where you're talking about keying in on some segments that we can slice up and distribute throughout the week, and some transitions. So next week may look a little bit different. It may look the same, but it may look different. We'll see.
And for our subscribers out there, I apologize. We did not get a recording in last week. That was my fault. Last week we had a child at home due to a COVID exposure risk. And so that took me out of commission for most of last week. So I apologize for missing you, Brian, last week.
Yeah. So let's talk about last week. What did you have going on? Did I see you open a lemonade stand for some extra cash last week?
Yeah. So we're on a pretty good road for lemonade stands. So we, over the years, as the kids have aged, and, right around 5 to 9 seems to be a sweet spot for a lemonade stand. So my youngest was home with me, so she did her first lemonade stand, which was pretty impressive. I'm just trying to put my thoughts in order because Malin, my youngest, was home last week, so she did her first stand last week and made, I don't know, $12 or something off an hour, and she was really excited. And it was really kind of exciting to see her brain kind of process, the complex multitask of kind of, going through, we built a list, a product list, a materials list or whatever, a checklist. And she built a sign and she put everything together. And of course I handled all the sanitation of making the stuff. And I was doing the pouring, but she was otherwise doing everything. And it was just great watching her kind of come alive, economically speaking, I guess, or what have you. So that was really fun. This weekend, my older daughter, middle child, she's 9. She did a lemonade stand for her first time this year. And it is shameful to see how much money she makes on this lemonade stand. I think I posted on Facebook, which you may have seen, that I think by the first hour or so, she was averaging, I think, about $40 an hour.
Wow.
Because these kids, they list a cup of lemonade or iced tea for $1, and these parents and supportive passers-by, they're throwing 5s at them and 20s and things, and it's just so nice to see the community, what the community does for the children. So yeah, that was my week last week and the weekend. And if I can just continue this rant, one thing I've been preaching is, so my kids are connected kids, right? So they came up with iPads in their hands, and we're an Apple family. So the Apple family model, where the parental controls and things with the Apple products is so nice. And one of the features that you can do is for your family, you can turn on Apple Cash for child accounts, and it effectively gives them their first bank account. And I don't know if I told you about 2 summers ago, I went through this really ridiculous process of trying to open a checking account for my 9-year-old. Did we talk about that?
No, I don't think we did talk about it, but yeah, similar here. I mean, the grandparents and aunts, they want to give you checks like in the kid's name, and it's can be exhausting to get.
It-
I think
well,
we've got some that we just never even bothered to cash just because it was too much of a pain.
Yeah, so I can go on this rant about how difficult it was to open a checking account for an 8-year-old. Nobody wanted to help me, but nobody wanted to explain why they couldn't help me. I
Mhm.
eventually learned that opening a checking account was essentially a contract between the individual and the bank, and because minors really can't engage in contracts, that's why they don't let it, like a child account, open a checking account. They kept
Mhm.
wanting to push me to this savings book account that's linked to my checking account. And I said, no, I really wanted to kind of establish her identity from a banking standpoint, because ultimately I wanted to teach her about stocks and equities, and I wanted to see if we can get her to buy some penny stocks and things like that. And that's kind of the direction I was going. Anyways, back to Apple Pay. Apple Pay or Apple Cash essentially is a checking account, so to speak. And it's really cool because now the kids can see it's like for all intents and purposes, a digital piggy bank for them.
Mhm.
And so I act as the bank. So if they want, and I don't make them, they can collect whatever cash they have, they can make a deposit with me. And then
Mhm.
I can send the cash into their Apple Cash account from my iPhone to their iPad or their iPhone. And then they can, then all the benefits of a bank. You don't lose the cash, you won't get stolen, that sort of thing. They love having the cash. So they're not eager to make the deposit yet, but the 9-year-old has over $300 now, she's which is really cool. And then the other cool thing is, from a parenting standpoint, I would say that I'm probably on the medium to strict side of parenting. I grew up doing my own, learning about doing my own laundry as early as 9, 10, 11 years old, or at least contributing significantly to the upkeep of my own needs and the house, and what's really cool is I'm not really a yeller, or I don't like to be a yeller, and I don't, I grew up being yelled at, and I don't want to yell. I want to kind of
Mhm.
educate and help the kids grow or whatever. So what I did with the 9-year-old, I said, laundry, for example, I run the laundry and my wife folds and puts away. It's a wonderful system because I like doing that part and she hates doing
Right.
that. We like doing the respective parts, and we hate doing the other part. And it's just a really marriage made in heaven in that regard. But I expect my 9-year-old, and I'm starting to teach the 5-year-old, take, separate. It's funny, they take the pants and underwear off at the same time, usually right
Right. Yep.
immediately before a shower, but the underwear is always tangled in the pants, right? So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, separate the underwear from the pants, take the pants and fold them inside right, put them in the laundry, right? It's like that's where it starts, and you'll be coming up on that soon, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we're there right now. This is our first full week with underwear, so that was a big deal.
Big milestone.
Yep.
So, anyways, all of these kind of parental things that you may remember growing up being hounded by your parent,
Mhm.
right? Take out the trash, do your chores, do this, do that, right? And it's like repeatedly. Basically, what I told the 9-year-old, I said, listen, next time I got to turn your laundry inside right before I run it, I'm going to charge you $1.
Mm.
And she said, okay, dad, okay. And she respects the responsibility in that. It was not, there's
Mhm.
no like angst or animosity there. She almost like takes pride in that responsibility. So I think it was like 3, 4, 5 weeks ago or whatever. Sure enough, there was a pair of pants that was all tangled or whatever. It just wasn't right. And so I sent her a picture. And then I sent her a request in Apple Pay for $1.
Mm.
She sends me $1. She says, sorry, dad. She hasn't done it since.
Wow, that's really good.
So that's a long story about you know financial literacy in our household, and that's basically, yeah, that's what we were
It's
doing. So
finance and technology. It's an
finance,
insight to finance and technology, if you will.
exactly. So, anyways, how were you last week and this weekend? What was new?
Well, so we had my mother-in-law was still in town. She stays down in Brantford with some family down there. So she was still in town for my son's birthday. So she was still around for this weekend. My wife went down there. The big deal was Lake Compound. So for people out of the area, that is our local amusement
Right.
park. So the town I'm in is Southington, and part of it's in Southington, and part of it's in Bristol, which out of towners may know as the home of ESPN. So it's right over in that area. And so that was a big deal that that's back open, because we're season pass holders, of course, because all
Nice.
those places, you get 2 tickets are basically the same price as a season pass. So my wife really likes it, because he just turned 4, so she can go over there. He wakes up from nap around 2 or 3. She can go over there, and even if it's just for a couple hours, it's something to do. So that opened this weekend, so he was really excited about that. The other big thing that opened, so they May 1st, behind us, there's a park. It's called Hubbard Park, and one of the attractions there is you can hike up to this. They call it a castle, but it's really just this singular tube,
Turret.
almost like part of a castle. What's the word?
A turret almost.
Yeah, I guess that's the word. So you can, it's probably 5 or 6 flights of stairs to get up inside it, but you can drive up. It's about a 3-mile drive up, and that's closed for the winter. So that opens the first week of May. So both of those things, which are summer staples, came around this past week or so, or since our last show. So that's pretty exciting. They're actually supposed to have the road closes at dark. But one of the things they do is when there's a full moon, they'll leave it open till like 9 o'clock, so people can go up there, and it's pretty neat. We've done it before Luke was around, but we were going to go up this past Monday night, but we had storms in the area, so it was closed. But just the arrival of those 2 summer staples here, and the warm weather's kind of mixed things up. So it's
Yeah,
been a fun last couple weeks.
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, the weather is getting nicer here in
Mm-hmm.
central Connecticut. It's funny, the lake compounds. I've only been there once for, I think, a Halloween thing, maybe about
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, 7 years ago. But I don't know. Do you remember not Six Riverside?
Yes, yeah, I went there a couple times, but yeah, I remember Riverside, sure.
So yeah, so growing up, we were in kind of the northern half of Connecticut, so we were more of a Riverside family than a Lake Compounce
Mm-hmm.
family. But Lake Compounce is a nice resource that I don't keep it in my mind, so I forget that it's there. But
It's too
now that you
close, right? Sometimes things are too close that we don't think of them. When we think of going somewhere, we think of really going somewhere, but
right,
and you don't think about it until so my nephew, who lives about an hour and a half away, that's where he's going for like his end of the year big trip. So you have to
nice,
sometimes kind of think like that. It's like, wow, we have this resource here that's
right,
people travel from all over for, which is kind of neat. So,
right, right.
but yeah, so I was from upstate New York, so we had Great Escape, which was our kind of version of Riverside, which I think maybe Riverside was a little bit bigger, but they're
Well,
both Six Flags now, right?
Riverside was bought by Six Flags, so it's
Yeah,
now
so
Six
is
Flags New England.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure Great Escape is now a Six Flag
Oh,
part of
really?
that deal.
Oh, yeah, I think that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, Great Escape, a Six Flags theme park, it says. So yeah,
So
M&A, man.
you mentioned, I want to talk. We're going to talk about our business weeks too soon, but just real
Yeah.
quick, you glazed over the fact that we are home to ESPN,
Hmm.
and that's in Connecticut, Bristol, Connecticut. You're in Southington, which is, I guess, the next town over. That reminds me, only because it's in the news. It's hot right now. How are did you pull the trigger on your NFT baseball cards? Did we talk about that?
I did not yet. I've been following the secondary market. I think it's like a lot of other things. You don't want to necessarily buy the IPOs. So I
So
think
this is
what they
why
do, yeah. So
why I'm
I think
asking is because crypto's taken a beating, and I wanted to know how is the baseball card NFT market doing in that.
yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure there's indexes that track it. Just sort of as I pull it up here now on a second screen, it looks like there's still some packs available. Looks like some you can get for in the pennies. So if you're looking for that Kenta Maeda card that you've been searching for your whole life, you can have it now for 60 cents. So
That's
um
awesome.
and poor Nathan Eovaldi is the Red Sox fans will know the name. He's listed at 50 cents. So he is the uh cheapest one on the board here as far as the secondary market goes. But yes, I think they issue new packs or whatever every Wednesday. So, and then
Wow,
they
they
do
do.
something with plays too, I guess. So if whatever they do, the big plays from the night before they create into NFTs, so you can get player cards, you can get play cards, and then I know they're
Wow.
doing some legend stuff or some significant milestones. So like when Miguel Cabrera got his 3,000th hit, that was a special card. But no, I have not purchased any, but I
I
will at some point. I just want to see what the I'd probably actually record it and go through the process um, and put a video up on it. But
That's very
yeah,
cool.
it's kind of interesting. I mean, crypto market is certainly correlated to that, and it's struggled to say the least. The last, I mean, really since the end of the year, right? It was late December that Bitcoin peaked around 66,000, and now it hovers around 30. So
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about save that for the news.
yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about our business week, our last business week or two since we've last connected. What's new
Oh,
with Northshire Consulting?
well, I think you and I were on similar paths as far as cleaning up some data sets and sharing some data sets to some extent to get that stuff cleaned up. So I think I've got a pretty good order. We've talked about how there's not in the 401k space, it's a little bit different. So whereas you'll have your businesses or your clients, and then you may have records for certain employees, maybe all the employees if you're running some sort of employee education or key employees, and then it kind of stops there. What's different about mine is you might have the business, they might have 2 or 3 different types of retirement plans, and then you have the employees, so there's that other layer, and then the employees might have an account with you inside their retirement plan, and then they may have an account on the outside. And then from the database, you could even take it another layer where you're looking at not just their accounts, but the positions. And so it's a pretty intense process. If I could, take 6 months off and hire some developers and build it the right way. Um, I don't think most people are as that intense about the 401k market, so they don't care about the data. I think if there were, there'd probably be better solutions. And there are some decent solutions, and it's evolving all the time. So I have to stay up on that. And we can talk in particular about one demo that I did that was kind of fun. But so that's part of it that we're trying to. A lot of the CRMs and data solutions designed for advisors are really more for the individual market than the retirement plan market. So I did test drive one piece of software last week. I had a demo over the weekend that I didn't get to play around with that much. And it wasn't a fully functioning demo, which I'm sure makes you probably bothers you a little bit. But it's like, if you're going to give the demo, give the person the keys to the castle, right?
Yeah,
And they
I could
had me
speak to
sign an
that.
NDA and do all that. And that was one that I had actually offered to do the demo live and record it. And because I know in my Facebook group and YouTube channel, there's other advisors on there. So it's like, well, why not just get this out there to everybody? Um, so that was a big area of my focus, is trying to clean up that data and see how that translates to marketing. Just got my Facebook group up there.
Yeah,
So
while you're talking about it, I just wanted to give that. That is you, right? Yeah, that's you.
yep, that's me. So yeah, we're coming up on 2,000 members, so a little bit over a year. So it's
Yeah,
been
I
fun.
am so jealous but inspired that you have 1.9 1,900 members or so
Yeah.
on your group that you control and you curate, and that's really cool. That's really cool. Would you want to talk about your first troll? Was that your first troll? Would you call that
Well,
contributor a
yeah.
troll
So
or?
as a moderator, obviously you want to keep spam off. You want to keep all that, anything that's that could do harm to the group or doesn't add value. So I had actually turned on about a month ago post approval, which I originally didn't have because I wanted it to be a little more free flowing, but with the amount of spammers and stuff that are out there, you just can't do it. So I'm pretty well connected most of the time anyway. So usually if somebody posts something, I can approve it in relatively short order.
Right.
Something came through on the weekend. It was a post about
I'm
I forget
specifically
even what
not
the post.
scrolling in case it's still there. I didn't know if you wanted to
Yeah,
air
yeah,
that
you
or
could
not.
scroll down a little bit. It's probably going to be one of the first posts, but it was just something about 401ks not being. There are better options than 401ks. So normally that's something that I probably would have just blocked or not approved, or because it doesn't necessarily add any value. But it was over the weekend and I happened to be online, so I said, you know what, I'll let it go through and see what happens. We let it go through, and
Look at that, 60 comments. That's pretty
yeah,
good
right.
engagement.
Yeah, I know, but it does. It helps the engagement numbers and it helps other posts get more visibility. So, um, and then basically the first few people that commented, he was using that as a lead source and sending private messages, which
Oh, he
is
was.
obviously it. Yes, yeah.
Oh, I missed that fact.
Yeah, so if and one of the guys who's another advisor and kind of a long distance buddy of mine, he screenshotted some of the stuff, and I have, he messaged me right away, and I kind of played stupid, which I'm very good at, and he, it's sort of kind of pitched me something, and I didn't really know what he was doing, and then once I found out he was private messaging other members of the group, I just blocked him because I didn't
Yeah.
want to subject my group members to that.
Yeah, you got
But
to
yeah, it's
balance.
interesting.
You got to balance letting real conversations grow organically, even if it feels like it may be. I don't want to say competition, because competition is healthy and
Mhm,
productive in its own right. But certainly if the value, I was on a couple groups that I won't say what they were, but they were special interest for things that I was following personally. And I posted something on and it was like 30,000, 40,000 members in this group. And I posted something that I thought, my sense of humor. I don't know if everybody's still viewing, if I can find my comment on this thread, but my sense of humor is usually like, I like to laugh at myself, and I like to like help people find an opportunity to laugh at themselves. Yeah, sometimes if you take yourself too seriously, I think you're just doing it wrong, in my opinion. I don't know, like my followers on LinkedIn, for example, I post some family things and personal things from time to time
mhm.
on LinkedIn, just to remind everybody that we're still people.
Yep.
But anyways, I posted something on a group that I was following, and it got banned. It didn't get banned; it got blocked, and it was like, this doesn't show value to the community under the scope or guidelines or something. I'm like, what?
Mm,
It totally was contextually
yeah.
relevant. It wasn't hurtful. It wasn't mean. It wasn't snarky even.
Mhm.
But I just kind of got like spurned, and so I left the group.
Yeah.
So that's the burden of a group manager, I guess, is
Mhm.
letting kind of letting enough creativity in, even though if it might not run afoul, run parallel, or if, an offshoot of maybe the primed. I mean, I don't know, do you have any open discussion here that may not necessarily be, sometimes a conversation can kind of like take a hard left, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's we try to avoid any political stuff. So I think if somebody posts something and it seems like it should be cut and dry, but sometimes it isn't, so you
Right.
have to be careful with that. And even sort of the promotion stuff. If you looked at that thread, there was a gentleman in there that posted a link to his YouTube channel, a specific video, semi-relevant, but not really. And I pondered that for a little bit and actually reached out to a couple other people that I know. And I said, hey, how do you handle, because he's not necessarily selling anything, but he's promoting his channel. And yeah, maybe you'll get a couple views and a couple pennies out of it. Um, so I said, well, rather than private message him, let's just have a discussion out in the open. And I said something to the effect of, it just responded to his post, and I said, hey, welcome to the group. What are you working on with your channel? What's your goal? And if he had responded, my goal is to get everybody to buy my Bitcoin newsletter or something, then I would have known which direction he was going. But it was he's just trying to build his channel, and he told me about he's working on this option strategy, covered call kind of thing, which is, from an option standpoint, or the most conservative option strategy. And so I just responded to him. I just said, good luck with your channel. You're welcome to post here if it's relevant. Don't go too crazy. Maybe once a month
Right.
is a good
Right.
cadence. And we
Does
just
this
put it out there. And I thought that was kind of our industry needs new voices. Our industry needs, some of this kind of stuff. So, and at some point, maybe he'll, be a moderator or something, or maybe he'll post some things that add value to the group. So, you have to be careful, and I can't watch every video that gets posted, or I can't watch every link. So it's moderating a group is not an easy thing to do.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
going to lead that into, you're kind of in a way getting a sample of kind of the burden that social media companies have to
Mhm.
shoulder, right? There's first of all, the 401k and beyond group is a private group curated and managed and owned by you. So free speech doesn't apply, right? A lot
Correct.
of people, and look, I'm a libertarian in most themes, so I'm a freedom fighter and promoter, but you have to know when things apply. And free speech in the context, free speech doesn't exist here. You know what I mean? It's whatever you allow and not allow. Um, and so the public at large, the court of public opinion has a lot of ideas about what should be allowed on Twitter and what should be allowed on Facebook and what information should be disseminated or available. Governments have their own opinions and rules as well, and it's just interesting to see. You're getting a kind of a taste of that burden in a way.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is a challenge, and I look at it as to what extent you don't want to squash these. I don't even want to say opinions, because you're entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts. That whole thing. If somebody posts something that says 401k stink or something, it's like, all right, well, I guess that's a matter of opinion, but let's see where this goes. Let's have that discussion, and maybe somebody can be educated further, and maybe they can be brought into what I think is the right direction, or maybe those discussions are healthy. So rather than delete something that could promote a discussion, let's leave it in there, see where the
Right.
discussion goes,
Right.
and let's get those voices out there. And very protective of my clients, and in a way the group members too. So I don't want anything that's patently false or somebody to be pitched a bad product. But at the same time, you have to sort of let this stuff out there, like, hey, this is what's going on in the world. You might get an email like this. You may see this in another group, that kind of stuff. So we kind of let the comment police take over sometimes and see where it goes. So
La-
sometimes that's another strategy too.
Last question before I pivot the attention on my group.
Sure.
Do you have you delegated moderation yet to any of your group members?
I haven't yet. My wife is a moderator, just as kind of a backup in case I get hit by a bus. She just kind of added in here. I may at some point. We've haven't talked about this yet, but I'll probably at some point put a list of advisors on here, because I don't want other advisors pitching products or making some sort of sales pitch every time somebody comes in and says, hey, I need to open an account or start a 401k. Let's just get it out there, and let me sort of pre-screen a list of 5 or 6 advisors, and then maybe in turn for them being listed in the group, they can provide some moderation
Hmm.
in there. Is not necessarily an admin, because I'll own that and retain those rights, but they can be put on as a moderator. So there's different levels of access you can give people. Ideally, I'd like to have somebody on the West Coast, or even Hawaii would be
Right.
ideal.
So you cover more
To
time zones.
Yeah, exactly. So that
Nice.
if somebody posts something at 10 o'clock at night, I'm probably not going to see it till 5 in the morning. So a lot can happen in those 7 hours. So if you are a Hawaii 401k advisor listening to this podcast, reach out to me. But yeah, that's kind of on the roadmap there. We're not quite there yet as far as members, probably around the 5,000 mark, which will be probably, I would guess, in 9 to probably maybe by the end of the year, or maybe by April,
I love
probably
it.
be around the 5,000 mark.
How are you promoting the group? Is it just organic at this point?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook is really promoting groups, so we're kind of leaning on that. I cross promoted on my YouTube channel, references the group, and I have a list of questions that people have to answer to get in the group. So if they don't answer those questions, I'll know that they're probably bots or something. Or a lot of times, and I think I've messaged you on this, there must be some system that regurgitates the name of the group into certain answers. So one of my questions is, what are you looking to learn from the group? And if a lot of times I get answers that say, I'm looking to learn about 401k and beyond, that's their answer to the question. So I
Oh, it's a
know
bot.
that's some sort of bot, because they're just regurgitating the
Right. Right.
the answer back. So that's something I can block. So yeah, most of the comments that I get about how did you find the group is Facebook promotion, or I saw it in another group, or something along those lines.
So what? So to steal the spotlight here, you were my inspiration. I built a group called Law Firm Owners and Managers, for example, and I'm excited about my 28 members. I think 5 or 6 of them are friends and family, but the rest of them I think are more or less, people in the legal space. And one thing that I did on here was uh, as a rule, I don't know if this is going to convey or not. Check out my one rule so far, and that's not to say there won't be more, but basically, I'm asking them on their way in to send an invite,
Hmm.
back behind them, and I think that's actually helped. And I don't know if I can see. I think there on the mobile app there's a log or something that shows when somebody has invited other people,
Hmm.
and it's been pretty effective. So I don't know if that's something that you could benefit from or not.
Yeah, that's interesting. One other thing too, couple of features that I've used. You can actually recommend other groups from your group, so kind of have a group favorite thing. So there's a couple other groups that I belong to that are well run, so they're part of my recommended groups. But then you can take it a step further and say if they come from those groups, automatically approve them. So that saves
Oh,
me admin time. So
nice.
so I know if they go through Joe Smith's group, I trust Joe Smith as a moderator. So if they come from there, they're welcome to join my group without me approving them. So it saves a little bit of time there, clicks here and there.
Nice.
So little tricks like that can help you from an admin assistant standpoint. And Facebook has improved that feature too. So you can have it automatically not approve members who don't answer all the questions, or you can even get a specific of if their Facebook account has been opened in the last 3 months, you can deny them access to the group automatically if they have less than 10 friends or something like that. So it really does let you prevent bots as much as possible. So
Yeah.
Facebook has improved that to their credit.
Cool. Have you noticed I'm repping my own gear today?
Yeah, I
You've
was
been
going to
doing
ask
it.
you if those are new shirts or not. Yeah.
You've been doing it for a while, but my office stays pretty cool, so I don't put a t-shirt on until it's warm enough.
Mm.
But yeah, it's getting all the summer gear out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Are those new
this
shirts or?
yeah, these are relatively new. We got these just around COVID, when COVID started set
Mhm.
in, and so they've been kind of collecting dust. I wear this, like I said, through the summer once in a while, but
Mhm.
um, I just put a request into my business manager to uh, get us some more shirts.
Yeah, those are
So
nice.
this weekend, we mentioned, well, we were talking about data. So let me just say thank you publicly and personally for your help in Excel. Your proficiency in Excel is also inspirational.
Thank you.
That was important. So I've mentioned it probably a number of times, but we have a business management software that we track our active customers and our work product in that software. Tracks our contract and billing configuration, generates our invoices, tracks all of our kind of revenue and billing items, and it's a ticketing system and all that. But it's also kind of has a CRM feature in it. It's a very weak CRM. I have tons of feature requests into the company. Like they really could do a little to improve it a lot. But anyways, we have an external CRM product that we're using, and we brought on a couple of years ago. That's been a steep learning curve. So we're kind of caught up there, but it's been an almost 2-year project, normalizing the databases on both software products, and then mapping the fields so that and then the last part is to kind of synchronize the data, because we have 14,000 records, contacts and accounts in our primary software that we've kind of curated over the years, and I needed to kind of clean that and backfill it into our marketing software. And so I would say I over the last week, one of the things I was doing was taking the last, data set, which were our, there's three, well, there's a couple different account types, but for us, we track leads, we track prospects, and we track customers, not to mention vendors and partners. But the three biggies there are leads, prospects, and customers. So I worked backwards from, contact or accounts and clients, where we got those syncing pretty quick last year, and
Mhm.
then we did our prospects, and those were done last year. So last data set really was our leads, which there were thousands of them, and that's what you helped me clean up and finally get done. I still have some error checking to review, but that's basically what I was doing last week. And again, thank you for your assistance. You didn't even charge me for that, which was awesome.
Yeah, no problem. In a nerdy sort of way, that's sort of fun for me to
Yeah, you
sandbox
look like
other
you were
people's
enjoying
data
it.
and stuff. So it's fun. Yeah, one of the issues we have here, which is kind of comical, that we're always dealing with. So Connecticut and Massachusetts both have zip code formats that begin with 0 because we were the original zippers. So that can wreak some havoc sometimes in when you're working in Excel, and you can format the cell and they're visible, but if you save it as a CSV, they might not be. And some CRM system will recognize if you send up a 4-digit number to put a leading 0 on it, and some won't. So that's always an issue here in Connecticut and Massachusetts too.
I was definitely suffering from one of those, from that exact issue. That was relatively fixable. But the other thing, there's a real burden that, the data gets fed into, whenever you have a data set in Excel or a CSV that you're doing like a bulk record edit or cleanup. When you save that file as a CSV, when you import it into your software, it basically gets streamed one character at a time into the database, and it's reading that comma separator. And I remember years ago when databases and software importing was not that smart at all, and it was a hard expectation that you would have your fields separated properly. And if you're uploading thousands of records and fields, if you have one comma out of place, you will affect the entire downstream of
Sure.
the data set. And
Right.
that was torturous, and fear. You saw a look of fear because we were doing a massive data import. So like you were moving so quickly across the cells, and you were troubleshooting, and you were doing a couple of things that you were doing that I asked you to help me with. And so that's why I was like, oh God, if I don't know what you're doing, I can't help you spot the comma mistake or whatever. But fortunately, I think the systems have become a little bit more robust to do error checking and validating.
Yeah, I remember one of the issues that they used to have was if somebody was, Williams Jr., Williams, comma Jr., that would screw things up because you'd have a comma in the name and they weren't expecting that, and all that,
Exactly.
those kind of data
Yeah. So
issues, which
you
you think it's going to be easy, and then there's always something that messes it up. I have a rant here about zip codes for a second, but I have a pet peeve about any website that asks you to like put in your address that doesn't ask you maybe for the zip code first, so that you don't, like, why don't they just ask you for the zip code and then it should pre-populate your city and state?
Oh,
I don't know why
I
they
think about that all the time.
that always bothers me. And along the same lines on CRMs, like sometimes I'll get so Cheshire is a town that borders ours, and for whatever reason it's commonly misspelled. But it's like these CRMs, I know they're supposed to keep your data personal and behind a wall and all that kind of stuff, and I get that, but there should be a mechanism. I mean, there's how many zip codes are there, right? Most there could be is 99,000 zip codes, right? They should be able to just be like, as a favor for using your software, we will take your zip codes and we will, if you want, overwrite the cities based on US postal codes so that everybody that spells Cheshire differently, as long as it's 06416
So
or whatever
true.
it is, gets overwrite. That should be an option that how hard would that be for every CRM to just go through and be like, you know what, we're going to update all your towns and cities based on your zip codes if you want.
That would be
That would
so
be such a
powerful.
win,
It almost seems like the USPS should have some master database and an API, like a free API.
Well, they do. You can download that. So you can, I don't know if it's directly from them, but you can download a zip code database. And I actually use it in my set to do that exact same thing. That's like, go look at all the zip codes on the master database, grab the city, and then overwrite what's ever in there. Just because I'm a terrible speller, and a lot of the
Right.
data sets I get
But I mean,
aren't clean.
even going above and beyond, but every time a web form asks for an address field, every time a page, a form, a CRM, like everybody should just tap this public API from USPS that's publicly
Yeah.
hosted that, and we should think differently, like, and say when we're collecting an address block, yes, it should lead with the zip code,
Mhm.
because now you just with that one number, you're populating four fields: country, state, and town,
Mhm.
and then the zip, right, with just that one number.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to lead with that? That's so true.
Yeah. I mean, you could even take it a step further with the plus fours, right? I mean, you could even do that. And then that would do your street name and
Is
your
that what the
address
plus
that
four
way too.
set indicates? Is the street?
I think well, I think so. So you can have two people with the same plus four, obviously, because there wouldn't be enough numbers. But I think that's the postal route or something. So I don't know.
Boy,
Maybe that
that
wouldn't.
would be fascinating though if they appended that to have a coded number for the street in a standard database and the
Yeah.
street number. So therefore, you could derive an entire address with with the zip code. That would be.
Yeah. You'd still have to put in your house number or whatever. But
But
and let's
you,
just fix the zip code thing first. The
but that could be a
five
five-digit,
numbers.
expectation in that zip code, right? So
Mhm.
it'd be like, zip code -4, maybe -5. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah. I don't know how many numbers you'd need. They'd have to look at the
per street
maximum
address,
population per zip code or the maximum number of households or addresses per zip code.
and
But
then quadruple
um,
it for growth and expansion and
yeah, exactly.
capacity.
Yeah.
Like, if you know anything about IP addressing,
No.
okay, I won't even go there then.
Yeah. But I was going back to Connecticut, they ended up splitting the area codes at one point, right? We got 203 and 860, and that was a big deal at the time.
God, remember the
And then
emotion people went through with that?
I
How
know, it's
about
a big
remember
deal.
when we went from a 7-digit number, and then they told us that you had to type in the 10-digit number
Hmm.
moving forward? I remember that. I've been in business that long.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, and in New York too, right? They went from 212 and then they added what was this 616 or something. I remember that was a big deal, like on Seinfeld, because Elaine got moved and got the new area
Was
code
there a
and stuff like
Seinfeld episode for that?
yeah, yeah,
That's funny.
that was a thing. So, because she gave a guy her number and she kind of run him over through the first three
Oh, she
numbers
was
because she was
embarrassed about her
embarrassed.
area code.
Yeah, and then he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't get the first three numbers." And after she gave him the first three numbers, he's like, "Where is that, Jersey?" I was like, "I'm not dating you with that area code." Uh, but
That's classic. I love it.
yeah, the zip code thing should absolutely be fixed. First step is clean it up on all web forms. Step two, all CRMs. Give us the option to overwrite our city names based on the USPS codes. Done.
That's brilliant. Listen,
Yeah.
so you and I we're definitely trying to get under an hour recording. We're at 42
Mhm.
minutes now. This has been a great conversation. We usually end with a little discussion about the news. Do you want to talk about anything in the news?
Oh, yeah, we've got a lot. I mean, let's pull up the I think you have the page up, maybe I have the group up. We
So
can
for the listeners and viewers, Brian and I pin news articles that we find interesting to our Facebook page. And I have up on our page, up on our screen here. This is the Finance and Technology Insights Facebook page. If you're not already a member or follower, go ahead and follow us there.
yeah, that's the
And
group you've got there. Um,
what do we have? You have, let's see, Zuckerberg from Business Insider posted a video showing off Meta's upcoming VR headset Cambria, but pixelated
did
out the
you
headset.
watch that video that was in that article?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
It's interesting. So it looks like he's like in a broom closet or something. It's not that big of a room, and then the physical device is pixelated on his head as if it's some sort of state secret what the device is going to look like, but you can pretty much make it out anyway. It's a really strange video. Like, look at that room that he's in. I don't know if
I don't
it'll
know if
really
this is
come
gonna
through, but
convey.
yeah, but it's so isn't that weird? Like, it's all pixelated, like it's so what he's displaying for the podcast listeners is he's displaying augmented reality. So think of Pokemon
Oh,
Go, and
so
all
it's an
that kind of
AR
stuff.
headset.
Yeah, it's both. So and one of the things he gets to here later on is the office setup. See, and he kind of shows it there anyway.
I was gonna
Everything's
say, well, there it
pixelated.
is right there.
So now he's talking about different exercise things. So taking it a step further from the VR classes, let's say you're doing something in your living room and you're actually having the instructor there in your living room walking you through yoga and exercise positions. And then one of the things that's sort of interesting, and we joke because Eric's got 8 monitors now that
Well,
I've
let me just
learned.
correct a record. I do have 6 monitors in front of me right now, but the system supports 2 more.
Oh, okay. All right. So there we go. Um, but one of the things you could do in theory is you could put these goggles on, uh, the headset on. They don't like having them called goggles, right? They're headsets. So you put
Headset,
the
yeah.
headsets on and you could be sitting at your desk at the beach, but you've got 6 monitors or 8 monitors, and you could project your Windows or your Apple operating system onto these monitors and basically be doing it that way. It's got a connected keyboard and all that kind of stuff. So you could be working at this virtual desk. Um, go back to like virtual machines and all that kind of stuff. But
Right,
so that
VR,
was
mixed
something that was,
reality, yeah.
yeah,
So
mixed reality.
what's your sentiment on that? Where are you on that?
I like the idea of the mixed reality. I'm not sure how practical it would be. I know people use it for exercise, which still kind of blows my mind. I can't imagine putting those things on and using for exercise, especially for still some of the more complex application. You still have to be tethered, which is crazy.
Well,
So, um,
the Oculus Quest that they have is untethered,
yeah, that's good.
and then there's a
Yeah,
boxing app in there that will really work you out. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. I'm not debating that. There's no question there, but just it's something you have to get used to, right? And they'll become lighter and they'll become
Yeah, they
smaller
will
like everything
definitely get
else.
lighter for sure.
Um, but
So I bought the Quest, the Facebook's Oculus Quest or Meta's Oculus Quest 2 during COVID. I was really fascinated with the idea that you could stream a 360 camera on YouTube, and
mhm,
I was just wondering, I wanted to see if it was viable that you could put like a 360 camera in a classroom and stream to YouTube, and then maybe have the kids join the classroom from a VR headset. Sadly, I don't think it's ready, but the technology exists. The cameras
mhm,
is there. Streaming 360 is possible, and the headset does support 360. Being in that realm, I think that the kind of package doesn't exist yet for learning institutions to say like, here's a dashboard platform and system. Buy one of these 360 cameras located in your classroom, and then send this link to the kids or the students, whatever.
mhm.
But the cool thing is the technology exists. Like, you could
It
literally
does.
be in a classroom watching instruction. I was
Right.
hoping I was hoping that would kind of like catch fire during the COVID lockdowns and things, because wow, that just would have been everything we needed. But
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
at any
And that's the way I kinda look at that whole market is like the technology is ahead of the practical applications, yet there's going to be something that's going to make these headsets a must-have. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's gonna be business related. I don't know if it's gonna be, gaming related, but there's going to be something at some point that's going to make this the Christmas gift, so to speak, which it hasn't been yet. Adoption is always higher than I think it is. When I look
yeah,
at the numbers, I'm always surprised so
yeah.
many people have these, but there's going to be something that comes out where turns out every high school kid is going to have one. That's going to be the thing to have, like Xbox or the latest PlayStation, and then maybe that's what drives more business applications or whatever. But kind of in that purgatory where I think the technology is ahead of the practical applications right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, I mean, how many times have you come up with an idea and you go, "Damn, this would be a great product," and then you're like, you start running the numbers and like, can I just invest my time and money into doing this? Then you're like, somebody will do it. Somebody will do it.
Hmm.
But that seems to me like a killer application. Distance learning seems to be a huge opportunity for the VR. I mean, they're already doing distance concerts. So
Hmm.
one of the applications in the Oculus headset, you can go to a concert in a headset, and
Hmm.
you have 360 viewing. So it's like the model is already there, but man, they
Hmm.
need to just package this for academia and say, here's all the tools and the platforms and the management dashboards for management and IT and the teacher, and then invite links to the class, to the students, and Bob's your uncle. And by the way, you don't have to have a headset to watch YouTube streaming in 360. You can watch it on a 2-dimensional standard flat screen, but if you have the headset, bam, you have this immersive opportunity. I mean, imagine like just being home with COVID and putting your headset on, and you're like in the classroom, and you look over and you see your mates that are there, if they're there, and who made it to class today, and the teacher's there, and it's just that to me, I think, would be a killer application.
I agree. Yeah,
some
concerts and sporting events too. I mean, giving everybody the ability to have 50-yard line seats at the Super Bowl, which you could in theory do. I mean, even a few years back, I remember watching the NBA Finals on my VR headset, which was forgot what it was
so
called.
you have experience with that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember sitting there, you'd watch, basketball courts going back and forth. You'd be watching the action. The action would be down on this end, but you could turn your head and look at the empty half court and look at, what was going on down
How
at
was
that
that
end.
experience?
Looking back, and yeah, so those applications have been around. I just don't know why they're not catching on yet. Maybe, I mean, it seems like such a win for the leagues to be able to sell unlimited half court sideline seats or unlimited 50-yard line seats.
Yeah, I find that so fascinating, for sure. I think we'll get there. I think it's inevitable. I think by brute force, the benefits will just be like, why are you not doing this?
Yeah, right. Or, in the case of NFL, I mean, as they go streaming multiple partners, maybe it'll just be like Amazon will just say, to heck with it. You have to have the goggles, this type of headset to watch the game. And, for an extra, I mean, what would you pay to watch the Super Bowl at a 50-yard line on your virtual
to be
headset?
behind your own team's bench and watching the game, and hearing the chatter and things like that. I mean, I would pay $100 for that, for sure.
Yeah, or even, now they've doing a better job with miking the players and the coaches and all that kind of stuff to be able
then
to.
with some interactivity, like to be able to pick different cameras and around the stadium. I mean, even that would be fascinating.
Well, yeah, and even some of the upstart leagues let you vote on the plays, let you pick the plays, right? Like Madden, you can actually pick the plays. That's true. I think
maybe the Jets will go for that. I don't know.
Yeah, coach by committee.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hey, why pay a coach $2 million a year if you got 2 million people at home watching the game? Let them call
democratize the game. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're having a great conversation. We're well into the 52-minute mark. I don't know if we're going to be able to talk about much more news. I guess the only thing I would mention, is we did say it in passing, is crypto's crashing.
Yeah.
I'll just say that in summary, and Elon Musk is yanking Twitter's chain. So maybe next week we'll have more time to talk about those themes and details, and maybe the current events will be different. Maybe crypto will be rebounding, and maybe Elon will have his stuff together when it comes to the Twitter acquisition. What do you think?
Yes. Yep. That'll be a big deal. The stable coins are kind of falling apart, as a lot of people predicted. And I mean, we could go hours and hours talking about that, but stable coins were the ones that were pegged to $1, thinking you could redeem that for $1 at any point. And a few of them have either struggled or outright crashed, dropping down to 10 cents or to 0, or so that's been a big issue. And Apple was no longer the most valuable company in the world. So they'd had that run for a while, and now it's Saudi Aramco.
That's right. That hit the news cycle. An oil company has unseated Apple as the world's most profitable company.
Yeah.
Or is it profit or is it revenue? It's probably must be
market
revenue.
cap. Yeah, just the sheer value of the company. Yep.
So. Good show. I'm feeling good. You want to take? What do you think? You want to take us out?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can't believe that was 54 minutes already. But yeah, I'm Brian Williams from Northshire Consulting, independent advisory firm in Connecticut. We focus on small businesses and families. And I'll let Eric introduce his company.
So I'm Eric of EVERNET Consulting. We're an IT company that manages professional services, doctors, law firms, healthcare, finance, accounting, manufacturing, that sort of thing. So if you need any advice or support for your technology needs, give me a call or go to evernetco.com and schedule a discovery call with me. And you are watching Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. And this is a YouTube channel where we'll be posting our video, and Brian cuts the audio into a podcast. So find us on your favorite podcast. And we do have respective Facebook groups and pages for our social, which in fact, I think you can see right on the YouTube banner. You can see we have our Facebook page there, and we're on LinkedIn, and our websites to our companies. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. You've got your YouTube channel going. You've got some guests booked. Got a little pipeline of that.
My YouTube and my video efforts have been stalled over the last 2 weeks, just with kind of managing work life. So hopefully I do have some things on the schedule. So hopefully I'll have some fresh content going out pretty soon.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you next week.
All right, Bri, have a good weekend.